Friends, we are here for upper body. Upper Body Friday. Now, I'm going to repeat the same kind of an introduction that we did before. Remember that ages 41 to 60 are training focus shifts. We want approximately 3 strength, lifting, resistance trainings a week. We're heading for 1 to 2 HIIT trainings per week, unless, of course, you have other situations going on. Some of us have PCOS or Hashis, or we have thyroid issues, and all of that feeds in. So make sure that at the bottom of your plan, you maybe read down at the bottom, because there might be some notes that are particular just for you. We change our training focus for ages 41 to 60 versus in our younger years because we have a higher chance of soft tissue injury or damage. Our hormones have shifted. They have shifted, and we want to make sure that all of our technique and our form is beautiful before we start adding load. And whenever I say that, that means that before we start adding weight onto our body weight, right? Our body weight is enough in a lot of situations as we are jumping off of the starting block. Know that it's not going to stay there for long because we are capable. And that starting block is a catalyst. It shoots you forward. So we're not going to stay at body weight for very long. We're not going to marry the idea that it's okay to stay at body weight for a year. It's not. You're underestimating yourself. You're amazingly strong. You're amazingly capable. So we're going to get those self-prohibiting or self-stopping beliefs out of the way and move forward into what we have in store for you. We're also going to switch to more compound movements. There is one movement today that is single joint action. Those are going to be our bicep curls. I love them. I believe in them. I've seen the proof in myself, in my son. I don't know if you've seen how built he is. Holy crap, Batman. And I've seen it in my husband lately too, as he is starting his own journey. We are trying to move bigger blocks of strength in littler bursts, right? So 3 times a week gives us ample time to recover from our strength workouts, unless, of course, you have chosen to do shorter blocks of work, in which case we're rotating through body segments, lower body, upper body, core. Then we start lower body again, knowing that we just had 2 days to give our lower body a break. So all of that rest is important as per yesterday's post. Remember that we have 6 different movement patterns. Say it with me quick, can we? I always have to look because I'll get tongue-tied on it. Squats, lunge, hinge, push, pull, and carry. Squat, lunge, hinge, push, pull, and carry. Look at that. I didn't even have to look. Those are our 6 movement patterns. We want to make sure that we're moving with all of those patterns in order to give our body a fully functional chance at strength and resistance. We also have 3 planes of motion. So when you fact check me or your future trainer or whatever you do in life, you want to make sure that you are moving through those 3 planes of motion. We have the sagittal plane. It's if your body was square down the middle, words are hard today, and we are moving our right and left sides of our bodies forward and back. We have the frontal plane, yes, where we move in this motion. We have a pane of glass in the front, a pane of glass in the back, and we're moving. Think lateral lunges, yes. All right, maybe lateral raises, think those. And then we also have the transverse plane, which is where we are crunching across, or we're moving the top part of the body toward the lower part of the body, or vice versa, transverse plane. For those of you who are maybe thinking about getting your GFI, your group fitness instructor, national certification, all of that will be on the test. Congratulations, good job. If you're not thinking about it, maybe you should. All right, we're going to talk about warm-up options. Carrie, I've given you enough time. Let's go, let's go. Warm-up options, talk slightly about on Wednesday. 5 to 10 minutes is what we're aiming for. Listen, you can do low to moderate cardio, right? We can take a walk. It's fine, it's good. What am I warming up, though? We want to be mindful. What am I warming up here? Hips, think about joints. Knees, okay. Ankles, maybe. Right? As I propel myself forward and I'm taking a walk. Maybe I'm getting a little shoulder action, but am I really warming up the body for what I'm about to do? So we want to be mindful for what we're about to do. So when you're doing low to moderate cardio for 5 to 10 minutes, understand that you've got to be thinking about what you're about to put your body through. We talked last time about miming your first block of work. So if you were doing lower body, we want to mime those cross lunges, right? Yes, we want to just walk through them nice and shallow to begin with before we start getting down and dirty, because we're warming up those legs. Now, today, we're doing upper body. So again, just being mindful, and this is where everybody gets scared. I don't know how to lift because I don't have the knowledge. Guess what? You're in a 6-week course to teach you the knowledge. So this is why I go over the muscle groups that we are working in every exercise. Let's go ahead and start some hugs. Right here, and I'm alternating top arm, low arm. It's just a little detail. I like it. It makes a slight bit of difference. If you are determined just to put one arm on top, that's fine too. It's fine too. World's not gonna end. Hugs right here. What is this warming up? Well, I'm opening my chest and I'm opening my back alternately, yes? So I've got my shoulders going. I've got those 4 small muscles in my rotator cuff starting to work out a little bit. Everything's good, everything's good. What about some circles? We can do alternating circles, backwards, like we're swimming. Where's Janine when we need her? Oh, and Trina, they're swimmers. Backwards, backstroke. We can switch it around and go forward. Think about what we're about to be working. Yes? All right. Now, what else are we going to be working? We're going to bring in some lats, right? So we want to reach. Oh, yeah. Now watch when I did that. I reached forward so that my bicep is in front of my ear. Down, up, down. It might feel a little bit like jazzercise, but I don't care. It is functional. I'm at home. Nobody's watching me. So I'm going to reach, and I want you to pull. I want you to feel the stretch all the way from the hip. Pull, down. So I'm warming up the body. I'm getting that synovial fluid to move. We talked about that on Wednesday as well. Our body is making it. It's dispersing it around the joints and the muscles, making sure everything's sliding and moving and grooving together. Yes? What else can we do here? We can round, bigger, big, round, and big. We're just thinking about what we're working today. Yes? All of the different muscles. As we move our shoulders on those swimmers, we're working traps, rhomboids. We're getting it all together. Yep. Just start moving silly. Put on some music. Dance around. 5 to 10 minutes. Think about what we're working. Let's go ahead and get into it. From here, our first movement is going to be a single arm row. I love it. Why single arm? Why aren't we doing both, Holly? I know how to do both. Right here, yes? Single arm row. Because the secret sauce in the single arm row is that your core is working so much harder. If we are in a bent position, single arm row, I've got a weight on this side. My core is going, okay, I gotta stay stable. And what do we want to do as we get older? Stay stable. Isn't nobody gonna be sitting my grandma behind down on a toilet but me? Okay, this is just what I'm saying. In our single arm row, listen to it. We are working lats. That's this muscle right here on both sides, yes? Actually, this is really cool little distinction about the lats. It comes down and it attaches. Its insertion point is down there at the base of your spine, but nobody thinks about that. They just think it's that wingspan up there. Rhomboids, erectors are the muscles on either side of your spine, helps keep you nice and up top. I was gonna say up tight. No, staying up tight. Traps, posterior delts. Posterior means behind or back. Shoulder muscles, posterior delts, your bicep, your transverse abdominis. Listen, I'm saying your core is working like crazy. So let's pick up a light weight, you and me. Ooh, you know what? All my super light weights are downstairs because I taught Soul Fusion last night. So we are going for this guy. All right, single arm bent row. Now listen, no weights is wonderful. Actually, I'm gonna put my weight down while I talk to you. Remember that anytime you put down or pick up your weights, you're bending your knees, you're keeping your chest up and your head above your heart. Yes, say yes. Yes. All right, let's talk about our feet. First of all, I'm gonna face you. You can see that my feet are hip distance apart, but you can see in the mirror that they are staggered. Yes, my back heel is lifted, my front knee is bent, and from the hips, boom, tilted forward. Yep. I can place my hand on my thigh for support. I highly suggest it. Right there, never on your knee, no matter what. Everybody say, never on my knee. We're not doing it. Why? Because that's where injuries come. So we're gonna keep that hand always above the thigh. Even when you're stretching, it's above or below. From here, my friends, I'm gonna be without weight for a moment. I'm gonna place my arm straight down. Nice rigid wrists. We want to protect those, yes? If you need help taping your wrists, I'm your gal. If you need help diagnosing what's wrong with your wrist, that ain't me. We're gonna go ahead and curl a fist as if we're holding onto a weight. Maybe you have one in your hand. And we're going to drive that elbow back toward the back of the room as we bring that weight up to that hip, yes? And then we're going to bring it right back down. So we're again bending the elbow toward the back of the room, bringing the weight up toward the hip and right back down. Here's what I want you to think about when you're doing this. When we drive that up, I want you to feel and pay attention to that scapula, that shoulder blade. Feel it move. Yes, shoulders pressed down away from the ear, and then we're gonna release it with control. We're not cranking it through. This isn't a lawnmower. Does that date myself? This isn't a lawnmower. We're not doing that. We're not taking the elbow and letting it fly behind us. There's no attacker that we're trying to get. We're right here, nice and controlled to the outer hip. Release, relax, down. Now, if you bring it up and your whole upper torso starts to torque, we're gonna keep the shoulders and the hips square to the front of the room. Zoom, boom, right there. We are gonna go to fly to narrow press. All right, listen. Fly to narrow press is, it's two workouts in one. It's two exercises in one. And we have a lot of different options here. I'm gonna go ahead and get my mat out because that's one option, is being down on the ground. Not everybody has this big old ball back here, and some of you have a bench. So 3 ways we can do this sucker. And then there are ways that we can separate it out. But I want you to try it together, yes? Fly is one movement, a narrow press is another. I'm gonna leave that there. I'm gonna grab my light weights and bring it down. All right, fly to narrow press. Pecs, those are your chest muscles, yes? I like to think that they keep the tatas up. So I'm gonna always be working them because I don't need a lift. I just wanna keep working my pecs. From here, we have anterior delts. We talked about posterior with that single arm row. Anterior delts are anterior, that's on the front side. Your core, the rest of your delts are assisting. You've got traps, all triceps, biceps. I mean, it's everything. All right, friends, you can see me if I come down here. Yes, yes. All right, so again, we get down safely on the ground. I move the mic off to the side, sit our butts, and we grab those dumbbells. Now listen, I want you to take a look at me before you get down there. Boom! Can we all just take a nap? From here, we want our core to be solidified. We want it nice and pressed down into the mat. So just a slight posterior whoop. There you go, tilt of the wonderful, wonderful thing. All right, I've got a clip in my hair that's digging into my head, so don't mind my head position. From here, we're gonna start with those wrists right above the shoulders. Now listen, your wrists should be straight. They should be all in one line. So you can tell that my dumbbells are a little bit slanted, right? They should be, because we want your wrists taken care of. I could not care less how your dumbbells feel in this position. I could care a lot about what your wrists feel like in this position. From here, we have a chest fly. I'm gonna soften my elbows. Again, everybody say that together. Soften my elbows as I bring those weights out to the side. So at this point, I'm not sure if you can see in the mirror, it looks as if I'm holding a giant ball, right? Because my arms are slightly curved. I'm now going to press the dumbbells together. I'm feeling this in my chest. I'm gonna contract that. I feel my back muscles start to open up and expand. From here, I bring my elbows down to my rib cage. What? And I have a narrow press. As I press those dumbbells right back up to the sky, that is 1. One more time before you try it for yourself. We're opening up, we're softening the elbows, big beach ball. We are pressing those dumbbells together, initiating that with our chest. We drive our elbows back down toward our rib cage. Yes, your elbows can kiss the floor, and then we press them right back up. That would be 2. I love you. We're going for 6 to start. Then you and I will talk about how that feels. And we'll see if we can't do a few more as we go along. I can use a ball or a bench. I don't have a bench, so you will need to adjust this on your side. I love this thing. I need a new one. If they made different designs on these, I would be there in a heartbeat. All right, so here's what I did. You come up when you're sitting on a ball, weights on your thighs or knees. Make sure you have a good grip on them and you're ready to rock and roll. Tell yourself something good. Dang, I'm powerful. That's what we want. Tell yourself something good. We're gonna slide forward. I want you to be wearing shoes while you lift weights. Can you do that for me? Wear shoes while you lift weights. Lots of traction on the floor, protecting your toes from potential dropped weights. As we lay back onto the ball or onto your bench, what I want you to do is I want you to engage the glutes, pressing the hips up, opening the hip flexors. Those are these muscles right here on the front of the hips on either side. So now I've got core, I've got glutes, and boom, I'm back up at the top. Same exact thing happens in this position. My weight is digging down in my heels and I'm expanding through the hip flexors. Boom! This is how I do mine. I love them. Love, 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 love. So you can see how that would happen on a bench as well. Yes? Awesome. Bicep curls. Do you remember calf raises from lower body video? Yeah, calf raises, we were talking about, we were doing standard, and we were doing duck, and we were doing pigeon. Why? Because it worked different heads of those calf muscles, the gastroc and the soleus. When they're combined, they have insertion points at the top and the bottom. Now your bicep is exactly the same. It has different heads. We call these the short head or the long head. Yes? Okay, so grab some dumbbells. And we have 3 options here. The first one, feet are gonna be right underneath your hips. Weight primarily in your heels, but your full foot is on the floor. I'm gonna bring those dumbbells right in front of my body because mine are larger. Palms are forward, that's called supinated. Supinated. All right, from here, I'm going to have that nice starting point is a nice soft elbow, and those elbows are pressed in toward the rib cage. From here, bringing it up towards our shoulders, bringing it right back down to the bottom. You got it. Fred Meyer's calling me. Up we go. And down we go with nice control both directions. This standard is really working that long head of your biceps. If you wanted to have a seat, this is not time for that ball. It could be time for a bench, or it could be time for a chair. If you're sitting on a chair, you can see in the mirror, I'm gonna sit on the very edge, bring that beautiful spine up nice and tall, shoulders over the hips, and I've got my weights off to the side, standard here. So notice that my legs are pretty narrow, because if they were any wider, what does that do? I'm gonna bonk into my legs, or it's gonna force me into a wide bicep curl, which is not what we're doing here, right? Standard up, standard down. We're gonna talk about how we can modify all of these exercises when you're not ready for the next weight up, but you're pretty sure you're almost done with the weight that you're at. It's pretty cool magic. From here, we have a hammer curl. Again, feet are hip distance apart. This time, instead of supinated with our palms, we are going palms toward the outer thighs. And from here, we keep our elbows into our hips, rib cage. We're gonna bring them straight up, and we're gonna bring them straight down. If you were a cheerleader, this might be called daggers, right? Cheerleaders and daggers. We should have known back then they were kind of funky. Yes, I was one too. Up, and right down. So again, single joint movement. We're just bending at the elbows. We need soft knees so that we don't feel this in our backs. Should you still feel it in your back, you're gonna go ahead and pop a kickstand back there just a little bit. I'll get back here. Pop a kickstand. Feet still stay hip distance apart. Back heel lifts. That helps take the pressure off of your lower back, just in case you need it. Number 3, we're going to go back to a supinated grip. Feet are still hip distance apart. Elbows are still into that waistline, rib cage, wherever it lands on you, because the length of our bones are all a little bit different. From here, still shoulders rolled back and down, and we lift off into a wide bicep curl, and then we bring it straight down. You got it. Lift up and down. So what I want to make sure of here, along with those soft knees, is that your wrists are in line. So make sure we look at them. Listen, you have been lifting things your entire life, so you have some habits. So your wrists might feel straight. You might say that they're straight, but when you look at them, are they? It's great to check in with yourself every once in a while. All right, so the standard bicep curl works that long head. The hammer works the long and short head. Yes, we can do that in a chair as long as you are off onto the narrow or the edge of it, so that you can go up and down without any obstruction from your chair. And then of course we have wide, which can be in a chair as well, as long as you have no obstruction to that full range of motion. What is the difference then, Holly? Why don't you just tell us, is it standing or is it sitting? Listen, this is where some of your autonomy over your workout comes in, because when you are standing, you have greater engagement of your core muscles. They are stabilizing you quite a bit more than when you're in a chair. When you're seated, more of the focus, more of the work goes into the actual bicep muscle. Front raise and upright row. Again, these can be separated, right? Like when we did that fly to the narrow, you could do all of the flies, do 12 flies, fine, be that way. You could do 12 presses, fine, be that way. But I'm telling you, for the mental aspect, to combine the two, it makes so much of a difference. So listen, you can do 12. If you want it to last longer, if you want more of an impact, you want to tire out those muscles more, maybe at a lower weight, fine. 12 chest presses on your back, supine, right? Fine. Or we can combine them at a moderate to heavy weight load, and we can do 6 to start and then see where we are. I'm just, so good. I have my Soul Strength 20 playlist on over here. Oh yeah, baby. That's why she's dancing. Awesome. Okay, so front raise and upright row is where I was going with that. We can separate them 100%. But it takes little coordination to put them together. We're gonna give it a shot. All right, what is a front raise? My feet are underneath my hips. Palms are facing toward my thighs. Weights are in front of my body. Yes? Shoulders line up over the hips line up over the ankles. We're all in alignment. From here, I'm going to engage my core, soften my knees, raise my arms so that my wrists, my fists, my weights are right around shoulder level. A little bit lower is a beautiful thing. We don't have to be up here. Listen, if you're up here, we're in trouble. Your weights are too light. So we are shoulder level or under, and then we lower with control. I felt this in my lower back in a good way. I felt it in my core. I felt it in my delts. My goodness, everything. So anterior delts, even your rotator cuff, those 4 muscles in there, whew, it's all working. So those are our front raises. Now listen, we also have a row. So I'm gonna still stand in the same position, which is why they go so well together. Weight in our heels, toes pointing forward, palms facing the thighs. I'm gonna bring my elbows out to either wall on either side of me. I'm gonna lift this up just below my shoulders. Wrists are rigid, and bring them right back down. Do it again. Elevator comes up, and elevator comes down. Let's try one more time together. Elevator comes up, and elevator comes down. Gorgeous. Now your core should be stiffened. Your core cylinders should be stiffened. This time, when we raise up for a row, I want you to pay attention to what your shoulder blades feel like. Yeah? All right, shoulders pressed down away from the ears. We're gonna come up. What are your shoulder blades doing? Press them back and down. And as they lower, feel how they release. Bring them up. Press those shoulder blades down towards the base of your spine, and then bring the weights back down and watch your shoulder blades release. It is the coolest feeling. I love it so much. All right, now that we understand a front raise and a row, should you want to? We're gonna count these, and there's lots of different ways, but just for the sake of this video, we're gonna count these and 1 and 2, because you're my favorites. Are you ready? Right arm, rows, left arm, front raise. Bring them back down. Wee-hoo, switch. Right arm, raise, left arm, rows. That's 1. Bring it down. Switch, lift. That's and. Bring them down. Switch. That's 2. Bring them down. Again, up and 3. So much fun. So we're gonna start with 6 on that one as well when we start adding load, and then we'll talk individually, and I'll be like, okay, how did that feel? What weight were you at? What weight did you push yourself to? We'll talk about all of the details. So you can separate them for better coordination. Your row works your brachialis. Listen, it's underneath your bicep. It's underneath, it lies just underneath it. Your core, your biceps, your lats, your delts, your traps. The raise, anterior delts, and the rotator cuffs, along with all the other nonsense. Yeah? So many things, it's just everything. All right, pullovers, and we're gonna take this down to the ground. This is another one where we can have the mat, a ball, or a bench. So again, we come down, we break our fall, we get our booty down there, swing our feet around, and we grab the dumbbell. There's a couple of different ways you can take your dumbbell for this one. We can hold it in the middle so that it goes vertically along with our body, or we can hold it with hands on either end of the dumbbell. Your choice. I prefer to hold it this way, but I'm usually on a ball, so all of this junk junk is the word of the day. So all of this portion, how's that, of the dumbbell falls behind me easily. So it might not do that when I'm on the floor. Anyhow, I love to make a triangle around that middle portion of my dumbbell. I'm gonna keep my shoulders pressed down away from my ears. I'm gonna secure my lower back onto the ground. So again, we're looking for that posterior pelvic tilt. We're gonna press the lower back into the ground. Feet are planted on the floor, and I'm gonna move from my shoulder with soft elbows all the way back until, oh, my biceps are just in front of my ears. Everybody say that for me. Biceps in front of the ears. And then I'm gonna contract my abdominals, and I'm gonna feel my lats as I engage, and I bring that right back up above my head. We're gonna go again. I drop it back. Biceps in front of my ears. I engage my core. I use my lats, and I pull it over up top. When we're back there for the pullover, we want to stop with those biceps just in front of the ears, because we want to make sure that we're not dropping it back too far. I'm not really sure if you can tell through my body positioning, but when I drop it back too far, when my biceps go to my ears, or heaven forbid behind, it's dropped all of the weight into my shoulders, and we're really going to be prone to injury there. It's an awkward position for your shoulders to be. So we want to bring that weight just in front of our biceps, just in front of our ears, and then reverse direction. There's this whole gray area we're using, so full range of motion isn't happening here. And again, this can happen with our ball or our bench. Let me bring that out. I love it. So again, we sit here, weight can be on our knee. We're gonna take this puppy and we're gonna walk it out because we're wearing shoes. We can hold it end to end, or we can hold it by making a triangle right there above our chest, head, and we're gonna bring it back. We're pushing down into the floor, into our heels. We're raising our glutes. We are extending our hip flexors, and we are keeping those biceps in front of the ears. Engaging the lats. Boom. As so. All right. Pullovers works your chest, your lats, your triceps, and your abdominals. All the work. Let's talk about, whenever you're done, bent, straight arm triceps. Holly, bent, straight, next to each other in a sentence. What is going on? Bent is your body positioning. Straight arm, or rather your torso, your trunk, and straight arm are obviously your arms. So we're gonna be feet hip distance apart. Again, we're gonna bend through the knees, hinge at the waist, and we've got this beautiful position. Make sure your neck is in line with your spine. Your straight arm, your palms are gonna be toward the back of the room. We're gonna bring it up. We're gonna wait for half a second, and then we're gonna lower it right back down toward the back of the knees. That's where we wanna stop. Up, shoulders are pressed down. We're gonna bring them back to the back of the knees. Now, when I say to the back of the knees, I'm not saying take them to the back of the knees. I'm saying line it up with the back of your knees. So make sure your shoulders are pressed away from your ears on that lift. Hold for a second, return down to be in line with the back of the knees. All right, you can do this with dumbbells. You can also do this with those beautiful bars. This is how I do them. Oh goodness, I grabbed the 12. Oh goodness, I grabbed the 12. When you do this with a bar, hold the bar in the middle. It's easier to whip behind you, right? Easier to whip behind you. From here, position so that the bar is even on both sides, just about hip distance apart. Feet are hip distance apart, hinge down, long straight spine, staring down at the floor about 2-3 feet in front of you. Lift it up, hold, lift it down, hold. Now I got some cake in my trunk and I'm still clearing, so we should be good. Dumbbells or bar is gonna work our triceps, right? But it's also working our forearms. Our forearms. Who thinks of Popeye when I say that? But it also works our forearms. I think of Popeye when I think of somebody working their forearms. And I'm like, I don't want my body to look like that. I'm not a Popeye girl. I'm not an olive oil girl either. I still need to look mildly intimidating when I walk down the street, right? But I don't want to look like Popeye. That's not my vibe. But what it does, we're not built that way as women. We will not get Popeye arms. Working our forearm is going to help with a stronger grip. Yeah, grip. So there's not going to be any more asking somebody to open peanut butter jars. Okay, let's just talk about activities of daily living. No one's going to be opening jars for us. We're going to have great grip strength. It's going to be awesome. You want to be able to ride roller coasters for your entire life, but that bar is going to save your life, so we're going to hold on to that really tight. There are so many things that we need grip strength for, right? But also, working your forearms or having something that strengthens your forearms is actually going to reduce repetitive movement injuries across the board. Across the board, repetitive movement injuries. We want to take care of that. Hey, if there aren't any questions, we're going to move on to snatch and press. It's a fun one, snatch and press. I'm going to grab a light kettlebell. Whew. This can be done with a weight. If it's done with a weight, we're going to work it this way. Yeah, on its behind. I got lots of equipment out today. I'm loving my equipment going on. All right, listen. If I have this kettlebell, I'm going to start in a nice sumo position. Toes are going to be rotated out naturally from the hips. This is not Sally from second grade ballet. Boom, right here, nice sumo. My kettlebells or my weight is going to stay on the floor. I'm going to reach down with both hands by sinking my booty down and back. So I want you to look at me and think push away from each other. Yeah, kind of like a pound squat. We're coming back. Both hands are coming down on that kettlebell. I'm going to drive through my heels, bring that kettlebell up to my chest, catch it at its belly, at the roundest part of my kettlebell at the chest. So we're gonna do that again. This is half of the exercise. So we're shooting our booties down, back. We're keeping our chest up. Both hands come to the handle of your kettlebell. We drive down through the heels, raise our chest, elbows come out in an upright row, right? Catch that kettlebell at its round belly. From here, my legs are soft, but my legs are straight, but my knees are soft. I'm gonna take that kettlebell up overhead. Biceps in front of the ears. Yeah. Trying not to arch through the back. So if you feel like you're lifting your headlights on high beam, we're gonna buckle that down. We're gonna talk about that a lot here in a second. Buckle it down. Whew. We lower it back down to the chest. As we rotate our elbows out, we take our hands back up to the handle, lower back down, hips down, knees bent. Kettlebell goes all the way back down to the ground. Again, grab the handle, elbows come out, driving up through the heels, up to the chest. That's an upright row. That's a clean and catch. Legs are straight, knees are soft. Raise it overhead, biceps in front of the ears. Reverse direction. As our elbows come out, hands come back to the handle, we lower right back down, hips go back and down, knees bend, big sumo. Just for kicks and giggles, for those that are maybe watching this on the replay, do have it on their plan and have a dumbbell. Here's what it looks like, nice wide sumo. We come down, lift up. We're underneath that first collar. We lift up, we come down, we rotate the elbows out, we bring it right back down. Yep, awesome. Okay, snatch and press kettlebell, glutes, hamstring, core, upper back, quads, arms, shoulders. This is gonna be a total body move, but it's a power total body move. You are getting power, right here, right? Whoosh, and then a second blast of power, boom, back, down. So it's a power move, a total body excellent option to go through. Bent fly. All right, bent fly is gonna be single arm. I'm sure hoping that I wrote that down. I'm pretty sure I did on everybody's plan, most people's plan. A bent fly. Why single arm? We said this before. Right? Core, yes, Diana Lynn, core, single arm, core. Plus, I find bent flies to be difficult to keep my entire body managed when I do both. Like, I feel like one arm is not necessarily doing what the other arm is doing. That may be just a personal thing, but for the most part, as a trainer, as a fitness instructor, I feel like if I have the problem, other people definitely have the problem. We're gonna have that same stance. So remember, we are hip distance apart. We're gonna kickstand the back leg. We're gonna bend through the front knee. Our weight is predominantly in that front heel. You should be able to move your toes in front. They should be able to dance a little bit. This dumbbell is straight down. Hand for that forward leg, boom, right on the thigh. Everybody's happy, healthy, and terrific. So I'm nice and low here. From here, shoulder, press down away from the ear. I'm gonna lead with my elbow slightly behind my shoulder. I'm bringing that up just about shoulder height, maybe a little bit lower, and then I'm slowly returning it right back down. You can feel your core engaged, try and keep you stable. Elbow leads, bring it right back down. Believe it or not, upper back, core. What? I remembered my bands today. Yay! I remembered my bands today. Yay, Carrie! Woo! So with our bands, this one is a banded lat pull down. If anybody has ever done a bow and arrow with me, it will feel familiar. We can use either the therapy band, we can use a loop, we can even use the band with handles and just use the middle segment of it. You're not gonna need the whole thing. What we're gonna do here is we're gonna take the band and we're gonna place it in the crook of that thumb and first finger, and our opposite hand right across. the top of that palm. Yes? All right, standing with our feet just about hip distance apart, a little wider is just okay. I'm taking one hand and I'm holding it so that in my vision, the palm of my hand is aiming straight to where the ceiling meets the wall in most homes. If you have cathedral ceilings, let's have a chat. But other than that, normally where the ceiling meets the wall is where my palm is facing. Now from here, I'm going to pull down and up and down and up. Now listen, when I come up, I'm gonna face this way, hopefully you can see a little bit better. My hands are still holding the tension in the band, down and up. So they're not coming together here, they're apart, down and up. So this is gonna mimic like a cable lat machine. Your shoulder is going to be pressed down away from your ear. I'm engaging my lat as I bring it down. You should feel that whole shoulder blade and everything else attached to it moving down and up. Start with it here and return to it there. Yeah, there you go. That is your full back, my friends. Everything in your back is working. Everything. Oh, we missed something on Wednesday. It was a side lying crunch. It was in your core or mobility section, a side lying crunch. So we're going to go over that. And then we're going to talk about an option for one of the exercises that we did on Wednesday with those mobility circles. Yeah. Side lying crunch very quickly. Coming down to the mat. Oh my goodness sakes. I did tell you I already worked out today, right? I already did my lift. I'm so tired. Deliciously tired, but tired. All right, friends, when we're down on the ground, hopefully you can see some of this in the mirror as well. I am not straight, right? I don't want to look as if I'm standing and everything stacked on top of each other, ankle, knee, hip, shoulder. This is not where we want to be. Where we want to be is I want to take the lower part of my... Yeah, all of a sudden my whole body just went, thank you. The same time, the shoulder that I have underneath me, I have that just barely in front of my body. And where I really want to make sure I stay connected is from the elbow through the palm of my hand on the floor. All right? From here, lots of options as you find where you are today and work toward one of the other options available. So where you fall today is not going to be where you end up. I guarantee you that. All right. So slight knees for me. Let's just take the top leg for now. We're going to bring it up and reach and take it right back down. Now, as you do the next one, feel free to press the palm of the hand into the ground, reach, maybe get a little bit higher and down. Keeping this line here, your neck and your spine all in line together. Reach and down. Notice that when you reach, you rotate back onto the padding of your glutes, and then you come down. You bring it up and you rotate back slightly onto the padding of your glutes and you come down. Yes? Okay. Side lying crunch as you get going can be both and down. And both and down. But again, we are using fingertip of your middle finger all the way down to the elbow. You can press that into the ground for varying amounts of help along the way. I started at 10, I moved up to 12, and then I made it a more difficult exercise on each side. So see where you are comfortably uncomfortable. Switch to the other side and go for the other side. I'm going to talk about those mobility circles a little bit. Now, when I told you yesterday, on Wednesday, about those mobility circles, I was talking to you about rotating, and from here, I'm taking the bottom arm and I'm lifting, and as we got the tipping point, I was still going to stay with that bottom arm, which is now the top arm, and keep it slow coming on the way down, and then rotating it through. Small little option for some of you where your brains just make sense of it, doing it a little bit differently. We can rotate. Again, use the bottom arm to lift it up. But on the tipping point, we can transfer the weight to the opposite arm to soften its blow or its resistance coming down. So we've transferred from one arm to the other on which is doing the work. Does that make sense? Just know that what you do on one side, you're going to want to do on the other side, however your brain latches on best, because ultimately that's what we're doing, is we're saying, this is how my brain works. I understand it this way. This is how I'm going to rotate through. Do you want to talk just briefly about breath work? And we're going to be going into depth on that a little bit later. But if we're thinking about how we're breathing, it does affect the energy that you have for your reps. It also helps a little bit with strategic distraction. Your breathing, I love you. We are going to inhale on the release of a movement and exhale on the lift of a movement. Yes, inhale on the release. And on the heavy work, we blow out. It's ideal to breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth because there are receptors in your nose that are responsible for nitric oxide, which actually give you an extra little second wind. It helps your energy. Let's talk about your cool down. This is our very last step in today's work. Oh, work intervened. Got it. The serious look on you. We're going to talk about our cool down as we go through this. Never skip your cool down. I will tell you right now, bare facts, skipping your cool down will land you with the chiropractor, it will land you with your massage therapist, and not in a good way, and it will land you possibly with the doctor looking for anti-inflammatories. It won't be fun. It won't be fun, especially if you are attacking this head on, like I know some of you are. You wanna make sure that you have your cool down. When we talked about our warm-up, I gave you a few options. I said your first option is to do low to moderate cardio, but think about what is involved with your particular choice of cardio and make sure that it involves the muscle groups you're about to work. This is part of that ownership, that autonomy. And you cannot tell me that you don't have the knowledge to know what you're doing now. Why? Because you've just put in the work on watching these videos, you've committed to the 6 weeks, and you are going to freaking rock this. So there are no mistakes, you know what you're doing. Plus, you have unending amounts of knowledge around you that you can, and I'm not just talking about me, there are so many people in this group who know exactly what they're doing that you can tap into and ask, hey, what kind of a warm-up would you suggest for? It's here, you can do this, 100%. Your next option, 5 to 10 minutes of miming the movements in some of your blocks of work. So that way you know that you're building that synovial fluid in the joints that will be worked and you're practicing good form. So that's an option as well. Your next option for your warm-up was to think about the muscles that you are about to work and start to move those around, yes? So now when we take that knowledge and we apply it to the cool down, here's the difference. Legitimately the only difference between your warm-up and your cool down. Your warm-up is going to be dynamic movements. They move. They move. Everything moves. We're doing good. We're having fun, right? In your cool down, we're looking for, you can start move, but I want you to end with slow, static movements. That means holding. Yeah? So lower body, holding. Oh, yeah, that felt good. Oh, what's Jennifer doing? Holding. Yes, holding. A little overhead tricep with a lat gives you a little bit of a, oh, right? So we've got all of these different stretches that we can do, holding 20 to 40 seconds, chest, intertwining the fingers behind, opening up the chest, maybe eye gaze up at the sky. Yep. We can do standing cat and cow, or we can get down on quadruped and do, ooh, cat and cow here. Spinal flexion and extension. Help open up those back muscles that you just worked so hard. Yeah. Bicep, hey, find a wall, palm on the wall, turn away from it. Anterior delt, front of your shoulder, bicep, opening up right here. Other side maybe, 20 to 40 seconds. Each stretch, don't want to miss it. If you are in Rebel Studios, you can find something called Rebel Stretch. It is the result of a course I took on the science of stretching. Plenty of videos to help you learn how to work your breath work with the stretch. Lots of good scientific information in those as well. Plenty of videos on flows if you want to have a rest day that's still active recovery. Some flows have a little bit of spice to them, so you may want to really hop on that horse when you're looking for something more than just a cool down.